Good evening and welcome to another episode of Unstoppable Overcomers. I just love that intro, and that intro was actually done by Brenda Warren. So thank you, Brenda. An amazing job there. If anybody wants to be connected with her to get your intro done, please let me know. I'm just going to go into tonight's sponsors. Tonight's sponsors for the show is Strong Foundations, Coaching and Consulting. Jen Zahari has over 25 years of leading, mentoring, training, and coaching people. Jen provides individuals and business personalized support to get aligned with their best life. For more information, go to her website, www.jenzahari.com, and book your 30-minute free consultation today. As well, Jen is also the author of Created, No Way Out. It is a book about Faith, who is on the verge of ending her life following decades of feeling unheard and unseen and suffering from anxiety. Looking back on her life as she moves through her final days, she recognizes how much pressure she put on herself at all times and lost sight of her self-worth and confidence. Created is filled with emotion, unique insights on mental health, and an ending you don't want to miss. Get your copy today on either Amazon or on jenzahari.com. I've got my copy here too. I could not put it down, so get your copy today. There is a review on our website, www.unstoppableovercomers.com, that you don't want to miss. So get there today too to check that out. If you're like on the fence and thinking, definitely get your copy today. With that, I'm going to bring on our guest, the amazing Jeffrey and Vaughn from Angels 14. Welcome to the show, guys, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi, Dorothy.
Hey, Dorothy.
Hello.
Thanks.
Thank you. I am super excited. Normally we have like one guest at a time, but we have an amazing, well, it'll be trio by the end of the show. But first of all, just tell us each individually who you are, a little bit about your background, and then we'll get into how Angels 14 was put together. So we'll start with ladies first.
Yes.
Great. Thank you, Dorothy. So I'm Vaughn. I'm the founder of a company called worksmart, where I do team and leadership development all through the lens of what I call creative integration, which basically means I do everything through creativity, play, and experiences, shared experiences. My background is I am a Vietnamese refugee. I came with my family in 1975 at the fall of Saigon. And I won't get into much more because I think we'll get into that story as we talk about how I got involved with Angels 14.
Jeffrey?
Absolutely. No, I don't know how I can follow Vaughn. She is number one in our group, just so everybody knows. Dave's not here, so he can't say anything about that.
He would argue that.
So I'm a 28-year Army veteran, retired in 2015, and kind of been on the civilian journey ever since. And kind of come around to 2020, and Angels 14 was born. And so with that background, we'll get a little bit more into that, but my background is engineer officer in the Army. It was a little bit of HR side and also teaching at the university level.
Awesome. Before we get started into Angels 14, I just want to thank our amazing guest, Melody. Melody is
Melody.
like, I think your biggest fans, next to myself and Kimberly. Hopefully she got to see us. I know it was a little bit of a weird start. Everything, the internet is not always my friend. We're switching that up. So hopefully we'll get better internet service over here sooner rather than later. With that though, okay, so now everybody wants to know how Angels 14 was formed. So who wants to go first?
That would be a Jeff story.
Yeah. So we the big thing is, and it even says it on our website, but what do you get when you put a Vietnamese refugee, an Army commander, and a Navy fighter pilot together? You get possibilities is what you get. So when Angels 14 was founded, which was, we think, about October of 2020, we at that time it was just something that we kind of started, but I was at the time I was unemployed. I had gotten laid off in February of 2020, and then right after that, COVID hit and the world shut down, as everybody knows. And so in the process of the long unemployment that I had, Dave DeGuelgio was introduced to me through a mutual friend, and we had a conversation one Sunday afternoon. And the conversation on the phone was me trying to, hey, can you help me find a job? To Dave, as Dave does, go, hey, I got this other idea. I really want to do something bigger for the veteran community, and I need somebody to help me out. Will you help me out? And I said, okay, sure. We didn't quite get around to the unemployment piece, but that's okay, because Angels 14 was founded. It was born at that particular night at the time, Sunday afternoon on a phone call. I don't know where Dave was at. Sometimes I don't know where he's at all, because he likes to move about the country. And so we started on this journey that we're on right now.
Awesome. And so I love when we first connected that you told Dave a little bit about Dave's story. Now, Dave hopefully will join us closer to the end of the show. But if you want to just tell us why Angels 14 was formed.
Yeah, so Dave's got quite the story, and I don't want to tell that story. I would love for him to tell it, or briefly anyway. But long story short, Dave was homeless at one time, and was medically retired, if I got that correct, from the Navy, after having to eject inverted from his F-14. And so he went down the path of darkness quite a bit, was homeless for a couple of years, and then came back strong. But his desire to make a bigger impact out there in the veteran community is primarily where it started and why it started. And both of us have that desire to figure out a way to end veteran suicide. And that was really the impetus for Angels 14, trying to figure out, hey, what can we do to try and help? And that's really what it's all about.
Right. So, Bun, where did you come in to all this after they had their coffee shop chat?
So I think they had been running these Angels 14 shows for about a month and a half. And I met Jeff on another veteran group call run by Sarah Correll, Power of Our Story. They meet on Fridays around 11. And I hopped on that call. Jeff was there sharing his story, and he had mentioned Angels 14. And what else were we doing back then but trying to find, people to hang out on Zoom with, right?
Exactly.
So he invited me on. He invited all of us who were on Sarah's call to the Angels 14 group, and we connected on LinkedIn right afterwards. And I told him I'd like to join, but I knew it was like a group for veterans to support each other, veterans and allies to support each other, but I wasn't quite sure what it was at all. So I came in hesitant, and I wrote you, right, Jeff? I said I want to come on the call, but I'm going to be cameras off and I won't talk. I was like, I want to make that clear right away. So I got on that Friday, and within minutes, my camera was on and I was participating. And I don't know how to describe it, but it was just a sense of everyone's welcome, right? There's a sense of belonging that's created. Everyone's welcome. It's a friendly crowd, and there's a lot to contribute to. Like people are so open in how they give and how they ask for what they need that there's no hiding. And there's no desire to hide.
Right. And I love that. And I have not been able to get on a Friday call yet. I plan on it. I truly do. Because that Friday call is open to civilians and veterans, correct?
Absolutely. It's for allies and veterans. Yeah. And I just kept coming back just to kind of complete the circle on that. So I kept coming back. And one day, out of nowhere, I was about to get on a canoe to go on this 3-day canoeing trip. And I'm like, and Dave kept calling me, like, what could Dave want? And I was literally about 10 minutes to get on this canoe, like, I'm getting answer the call. And he's like, I told him that I was about to get on a canoe. He's like, okay, I just need a couple of seconds of your time. Will you join the Angels 14 leadership team? And it was one of those things where it's like, anything you need, Dave, once I get off this canoe, I'll be there. Similar to what Jeff experienced, right? You just get sucked into this excitement of, Dave's coming from a good place. He wants to do good in the world, and you just want to be a part of it. And it's been great ever since. It's just been a really nice flow.
I love that. And we have had a veteran series and first responder series going now for pretty much the month of April, and we're continuing on in May. And it just seems like every time I connect with somebody, they're like a veteran or a first responder, and getting the word out and to end, definitely to end suicide with our veterans, and I forget what the stats were. Pardon me, I should have looked it up, but I think one of my other veterans had said it was like one a day or more. And it's like, we
22,
need to
isn't it?
end it.
22.
22 a day?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay. 22 a day. Wow. Okay. So, and that's why here at Unstoppable Overcomers, we are committed to helping these organizations, end suicide for our veterans, and end suicide period. I my little bit of background history, my uncle took his life Christmas Day 24 years ago. So, I mean, he wasn't a veteran or anything like that, but for people to give up that kind of hope, it's there's really no words to describe it other than it needs to end, and we need to break the stigma around the mental health and getting help. And I know one of our veterans, when he finally was brave enough to step up and say, hey, I need help, he was told to make an appointment, and that's unacceptable.
Yep.
Right? By that time, they're just going to finish what they wanted to start to begin with, right? And we're so thankful that there's organizations like yourself and that help these veterans and allies and come together and break the stigma and allow them to have those conversations, so that their life is spared and that they're here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Dorothy, and you bring up a good point. So I guess the official statistic, if you will, is 22 a day, which is for any population, that's horrible. And so we invite everyone, because it's not just veterans that need that help. Going back to your point and your uncle, it's everybody that does. And so when we started out, we didn't know what the hell we were doing. Let's put it that way. As a matter of fact, I don't think we still know what the hell we're doing. But Vaughn helps us focus a little bit, or at least Dave. But that's really what it comes down to, and providing the space for camaraderie, community, and connection, which is really what we're all about. And out of that comes belonging, and a sense of hey, I can be here in the Angels 14 Zoom room or Zoom, whatever it is, and be myself. I don't need to have any pretenses. I don't need to put on a happy face if I don't want to. Now, we try to make everybody do that because it's a fun show, but at the same time, we will, and Vaughn can attest to this, if somebody needs help, we will dedicate an entire show to that one individual.
Right. Yeah. And
awesome.
I think it was interesting is that, I think that when Dave and Jeff started, the underlying reason for starting it was this whole idea of ending veteran suicide. I don't think, not that we market Angels 14, but that's not how we talk about it, right? We just talk about it as a space for community, camaraderie, and connection. And I think in that it welcomes everybody. And then people feel safe to talk about whatever it is that they want to talk about, whether it's something great in their life or the fact that, they're having suicidal thoughts.
Right. And Melanie says that it's raw and definitely heartfelt, those conversations. So
Yes.
If anybody, what time are those Zoom calls on Friday?
Those are at 12 noon Eastern. And if anybody wants to join us, they can DM myself on LinkedIn, or Vaughn, or Dave, or even Tammy Laird, who's on our board of advisors. She's kind of the overwatch. She overwatches us all and takes care of us all.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty big task.
Yeah.
She's up for the job, though. Tammy is very much up for the job.
Yes, she is.
Right.
Yes, she is. Definitely.
In the comments, I did put noon Eastern on Fridays, and in the show notes I have put everybody's connections, like how to get in touch with you guys. So please feel free to reach out. The Jeffrey, Bun, and Dave's information are in the show notes. I just love this computer. You can't see it, but I can see it. There's something going on the side and it's driving me crazy. Anyways, so what appealed to me too, though, is when I first talked to you, Jeff, you had said that Angels 14 has, it's like, I'm not going to say like a 14-step process, but tell us a little bit about, because it was like that whole grid of the 14 things that you guys go through.
Yeah. So those are the 14 leadership disciplines. And I wish I could recite them off the top of my head. But Dave will get all on me about that. But joy and acceptance and intuition and wisdom are all a part of that. And so those are the basis for our shows that we do. And so not only do we have that, hey, what's the best part of your week? What's going on? Do you need any help? That's a part of it. But the other part of our show that we factor in there is that we want to create more leaders. And we use the 14 leadership disciplines for that. And they're powerful because they don't talk about that, hey, you need to be technically savvy here. You don't need to have this particular business acumen. They're all values. And when all of us are guided by values. And when we're guided by values and we're paying attention to them, that makes us a better leader. Vaughn, I would love for you to jump in and talk about these as well.
Sure. So again, it's one of those things where when I first jumped on, I didn't know that our call was based on these 14 leadership disciplines. It's just the show just is, what do we call it, Jeff? Organized chaos, or is it unorganized chaos?
Perfectly imperfect.
Perfectly imperfect
Love
chaos.
It.
Yes. But the whole idea is like Dave came up with these. Again, you'll have to ask him the origin story of the 14 leadership disciplines, but they're incredible disciplines to follow in terms of, like, if you're in a leadership role, these are great values to live by. If you're not in a leadership role, that you can still lead yourself. You can still lead other people using these disciplines. So oftentimes we will lead the call with what today we're going to talk about, the discipline of courage, or the discipline of acceptance, and share a little bit about what that means to each of us. And this kind of gets into this idea, like, we might come in with a topic, but then we have no idea what's going to happen, because it's always someone different on the call. And we love to talk about the wisdom of the crowd, right? The wisdom of the crowd. If someone needs something, if we bring up any topic, it's amazing. Mellie's a great example. She'll raise her little Zoom hand and then just spill out all this wisdom. I'm trying to take copious notes. And it's a leadership call in that sense too. It's not just, we may say, like, okay, we're going to talk about the leadership of discipline of trust today, but then stories come out of it, lessons come out of it. And it's not from us that the lessons come, it's from the people on the call.
100%.
I love that. I love that. And with each of your backgrounds, you're definitely born leaders. Definitely just looking at both your bios and things like that. So definitely, when somebody says, oh, well, in your jobs, the greater the leader, the better the group, right, is basically how it goes. And sometimes in organizations, that's not how it is. But definitely with the three of you and your backgrounds, you guys are definitely top leaders within your field. So definitely a huge kudos to everybody leading by example. Melody says she takes lots of notes.
Melody's our resident writer, and
yes.
Dave's also given her the call sign Flamingo because of the pink room she calls from every week.
Yes. Yeah, and another shout out to Melody too is on our website, angels14.com. In the blog, there is a article by Melody on camaraderie, community, connection. And if you get a chance, definitely check it out, because she can write some words. Let me tell you.
That she can. She is amazing. And also, I think it's Tuesday, she does a shout out to different
Yes.
veterans organizations and first responders. So definitely make sure that you are following Melody if you haven't already, because she does an amazing job getting the word out about different veterans organizations, different first responder organizations. So, oh, you're so welcome, Melody. She's been a huge help to us here at Unstoppable Overcomers, because she'll go like, you really need to have these people on your show, you really need to have these
Oh,
people
that's
on your
great.
show. And unfortunately, the one, she wanted us to team you up with a band, and forgive me, I
Oh,
can't
I
remember
think
the
I know.
band's
I don't know
name.
the name of it. Do you know, Jeff?
Death Punch.
Five finger death punch. Yeah,
Five Finger Death
absolutely.
Punch. So if Five Finger Death Punch is watching, dude, Jeff has gone out to you. I've contacted the head singer. Man, this would have been, I mean, this is an amazing show to begin with, but I mean, Melody thinks that lives would be saved by putting Angels 14 and Five Finger Death Punch on the same show. So,
Let's make it happen
yeah.
then.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One of my favorite bands besides Slipknot. But yeah, absolutely. We're still trying to do that. I mean, I've gone as far too as to reach out to the guitarist from Tesla, as well as Brad Gillis on LinkedIn from Night Ranger. So we're trying to generate this, this whole thing around it, because the more exposure, it's not necessarily exposure for us, it's exposure for Angels 14 and what we're trying to do. Because the more people we can impact, the better off we are. And Dave and I, from the very beginning, said, hey, if we have an impact on just one life, then it's going to be well worth it. I think we've proven out the concept. I think we've helped. I hope we have. The people they keep coming back. So like Vaughn, and by the way, I want to make sure that Dorothy, I'm sure you have that question in there somewhere, but hearing Vaugh's story is so impactful, and it's fantastic. And so somewhere in there, if we can have her tell that, that'd be awesome.
Well, let's hear it now.
Okay, nice tee up there, Jeff. As I mentioned in the intro, I'm a Vietnamese refugee, and we came here in 75, right at the fall of Saigon. I was barely 2 at the time. And it's a story that just, it was my life story, right? It's nothing I was proud of, nothing I kind of talked about until several years ago. I decided to tell it on a TEDx stage, right? So the story is, and I really didn't realize the significance of the story until I did that, and then started talking to people like Jeff and the people on Angels 14 and Power of Our Story, and realized that, the story that I had been keeping to myself is saving lives, right? The story that I've been keeping to myself is inspiring other people. And that's why I continue to share it. So when we first came here from Vietnam, it was the fall of Saigon, the last day that the US troops were leaving, and they worked as hard as they could to get as many of us out as possible. And my dad was a colonel in the South Vietnamese Air Force, so we lived on the Air Force base. So fortunately, we were able to get out that day as a full family. We ended up at Camp Pendleton Marine Base in San Diego, which was our first home. And these Marines had a total of maybe 36 hours to prepare for 18,000 refugees to show up. And they built tents. They started a school, which I joked that I got kicked out of for fighting at 2 years old. That's why the Marines on Angels 14, you're like, you're one of us. And just like the stories I hear from my mom of the kindness we were shown by the U.S. military and the Marines, and how much care they gave us, right? They did clearly the things they had to do: feed us, house us, clothe us. But they brought in probably wasn't the bands you're talking about, Jeff, but they brought in musicians to play music for us. They played ball with us. They had that little school for us. So that was the start. And that's why we have like so much respect, and it's so important for me to give back to the veteran community. There's one story I heard a while back. I read this where a young girl at 14, probably at the time, when she got off the bus at Camp Pendleton, a Marine came up to her and in Vietnamese said to her, "Welcome to your new country. I hope you feel safe here." right?
Oh,
And
wow.
and that is just so
Ooh,
beautiful
chills.
and powerful, especially knowing what Vietnam veterans came back to, right? For him to still be so loving and caring for people that who are from a completely different country, that they already went to a foreign country to try to fight for their freedom, and then to be so welcoming once we were here. So then after that, we were transferred to a refugee integration center up in Northern California. It was the first civilian-run refugee integration center, but started by a military, I think, and someone in the Army, like a retired Army commander or something. I have to look that up just to make sure. And that's where another part of our story started, where we had lost everything. Like, we came here with not even one suitcase, and we had lost everything. And at this integration center, they wanted to train the adults to have a career. So there was one volunteer there named Tippy Hedren. I don't know if anyone that name is familiar to anyone, but she was a famous Hollywood movie star. Her starring role was in Alfred Hitchcock's movie The Birds, and she was responsible for finding a career for the women at the camp. So she started a program that made typing and sewing available, because those are careers that were fairly easy to get into. And, my mom and 19 other women signed up for these classes. But Tippy had these long red manicured nails that they were obsessed with. And they just couldn't stop being curious about these long red manicured nails. And can you imagine being a Hollywood movie star, helping these women? How would you even have time to recognize that as a potential anything, right? Instead of dismissing that curiosity, Tippy's like, okay, let's look into that. Let's see if we get these women licensed and trained as manicurists. So she first brought up her local manicurists from LA up to Sacramento to teach these women how to do a basic manicure. And then she went down to beauty school and asked them if they would take these women who didn't speak English, couldn't pay tuition as students. And they said yes. And about, I think, 10 weeks later, my mom and her friends were all licensed manicurists. They passed their manicure practical and written test. And then we were all sponsored throughout the country. And my mom talks about how Tippy came to our little 1-bedroom apartment and drove her around Santa Monica to find her first job as a manicurist. And then it was the refugees and immigrants who came after us, who just, who learned about the profession from my mom and her friends. They grew the industry. They opened their own beauty schools, their own salons, manufacturing companies, schools, and now it's an $8.3 billion industry. And that number is impressive. But what's more impressive is the fact that Tippy set out to help these 20 women create a career for themselves, so they could have a future for their families, like their children. But what she ended up doing was creating a whole industry that hundreds and thousands of Vietnamese families have gotten into. And she's been able to create a possibility for not just those 20 women, their families, but all these families afterwards too. And that story really speaks to something we talk about at Angels 14, is this idea that one small act of kindness, there's no such thing as a small act of kindness, right? Every act of kindness has a ripple effect with no logical end. Now, Dave will say that that's his quote, but it's actually Scott Adams.
He was given permission by Scott Adams, though, personally, to use it.
Was he really?
He was on. Scott Adams actually responded to a LinkedIn comment.
That's amazing.
And he said, "Fire away, go ahead."
That's amazing. I didn't know that.
I really need to meet Dave. I've talked to Jeffrey before I talked to Bun, and I've never been able to speak to Dave yet. So this is going to be fun when he actually comes on.
You say when, we say if.
Yes, that's true. That is very true.
I'm speaking it into the universe.
Yes.
Yeah, let's manifest it.
It's manifesting. He will arrive actually earlier than the 15 minutes prior to the end of the show.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And that is such an incredible story, Bun. And actually, I did get a chance to watch your TED Talk.
You had mentioned that.
Janet Wiswati actually sent it to me.
Okay.
And I was just like, wow, that was so powerful. And I can't even imagine, just somebody showing up, and then boom, everything just transformed. But usually that's how miracles are transformed, right? It's just, it starts with one act of kindness, and then it's like the ripple effect. And I love how you guys said that, you know, if you could save one, that it was all worth it. And that's what our mission is here each and every Monday night. If we could save one, and then of course, well, there's always the replay, so one a day is basically our goal. Millions of lives will be set free from fear, and being victorious in everything they do and unstoppable, which we've actually kind of, Kimberly and a bunch of co-founders have started, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't speak. I can't think today. A community of fearless, unstoppable people, victorious people. So it's, I love it. And I don't believe in anything just happening for a reason. There, you know, God's all divine and everything. And Phyllis, thank you for joining us tonight. She's from Chatham, which is I kind of grew up in the Chatham area. So welcome, Phyllis. Great to have you here. This is her first time on, so you guys were drawing and attracting the right people, so there you go. Awesome. So Jeffrey, tell us more about your story. One shared her story, so tell us a little bit more about you.
So it's really funny. I mean, I when I take a look at it, a lot of people ask me that. They say, what's your story? Everybody has one. I just don't have a big one like Vun does or like Dave does. Right. But in my own little world, no, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, oh, everybody goes, oh, wow. But I mean, I was raised by a single mother, up until she remarried. And I always like to say that. I mean, I grew up a part of my life in a trailer park. And so, that allows me to make white trash jokes, because that's where I was at. No offense to any of that, but because that's where I was. But being able to, I saw a mother that was a single mother of three. She was on welfare. She was working full time, and she was putting herself through anesthesia school. And she did all of those things. So a lot of my basis for who I am comes from watching that resilience. And then, from my military journey and joining the National Guard right out of high school, because simply I didn't have any money for school. And that was my whole purpose for joining. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go in, I'm going to get the money for school, and then I'm going to get out. Well, there it was 28 years later, and I was retiring. And many different things over that time frame. And, part of my story, I can't do it without my family. Been married for 28 years, almost 29 this year. My wife went through all of that with me. And so, while I don't have this, I mean, there's pockets of things in there, of things that I went through. We have to remember, and that's a part of the beauty of Angels 14 as well, is that everybody has a story, big or small, that can affect somebody else. And that's exactly what it does. And so, we always say it on there too, is that we are not alone. We are not alone in our journey in life, and nor can we be. And so when we take a look at it, and that's what, you go back to the leadership experience, you go back to what we have done in ours. But to tell you the truth, everybody in our group that comes has something to contribute. They're all valued.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And absolutely, we all have a story, and by not sharing our story, it's kind of selfish, because we just think if all three of us would have kept our mouth shut, the amount of lives that could possibly have been lost, right? And I had this coach, and never forget, 2 years ago in July, she says, you need to go live every day, and that thing that you don't want to talk about, that's what you need to talk about. And I'm like, well, there's no way in hell. And she goes, do you want to save lives? Do you want people to see you? And if you do, then you share. And she says, by not opening your mouth, it's actually selfish, because we're all attached to different people. And if that person doesn't hear your story or what needs to be said that day, they could be potentially lost. And I was just like, since that day forward, it's like I'm not afraid to share or afraid to say what needs to be said. And think nothing of just picking up my phone. And if God has a message that he's like drilling into me that the world needs to hear, it's heard, it's out there. And not too many people can do that. So kudos to you guys, for sharing your story, being out there, for the world to hear it and to get that one,
Right.
that one
And
a
just,
day. Like,
and just for the people who are out there who are not, being visible and telling their story. I don't know about you, Jeff, but this when I first started, it was not comfortable for me. I had to learn to be comfortable sharing this story. I think for me, what got me to do it was a selfish reason, right? I own my own business. I want to do a TEDx talk. And that was the only reason I shared my story. And it wasn't until, like, as I mentioned, I would hear feedback and about what the impact my story made, that I realized, like, wow, this was not for me at all. It's for everyone else. So if you're out there listening to this and you don't want to tell your story, and you're uncomfortable, we all started off very uncomfortable, right? You will start off being uncomfortable, and the more you tell it, the more comfortable you'll get. And that when you feel the impact of what you're saying and see how it impacts other people, that's when you're not only going to want to share it, you're going to feel the need to.
Absolutely.
So good, Vaughn. So good. Yeah, absolutely. And that's a part of it, right? It's the being uncomfortable. We have to get out of our comfort zone in order to grow. And if we do that together, okay, for one, it's a little bit easier, but you also have to take that first step. That's all it takes, is that first step in getting out there. I am not a TEDx speaker. Okay. And
you could be.
Yeah. Thank you, Vaughn. But at the same time, it's when you boil it down to emotion, and you boil it down to, do you want to, you said it, Dorothy, it's selfish in a way when you don't share that story, because I don't care what you've been through. I don't care if you determine that it's just minor. Okay. And this is something I've constantly got to work on, because there's Vaughn and Dave and all these other veterans that I know that have these just huge stories. And then so I kind of sink in, and I go, I really don't have that. So how would anybody learn from me? But we have to take the steps in order to do that, because one situation for somebody is that was huge. Okay. For them, it's relevant to them. That means somebody else has gone through it as well.
Exactly. And right now, Jeffrey, there's a single mom out there that is pulling her hair out, ready to give up hope, and thinking, how the hell am I going to do this? I have 1 to 3 kids. I don't know how I'm going to support them. I don't know how they're going to turn out right. And by you just sharing your story, hello.
Beautiful.
You were, 28 years you've been married. That deserves a gold medal. You were in, you were
Commander
in the U.S. Army, 28 years, a lieutenant. Not too many people can say that.
Lieutenant Colonel. Not that I'm really picky, but
you know what? And that's the one reason why I love veterans, because they will tell you exactly how you didn't get it right, their ranking. And that's why I'm almost afraid to even, and okay, so no, seriously, I talked to somebody who was in the Navy. So I mistakenly connected him with somebody else and said, to me, when I think of Navy, I think of Navy SEAL. No, not so. Not everybody is a Navy SEAL. So when he corrected me, I felt like this high, but I'm like, okay, correction. And you can't say but for me, when I think of somebody that's been of service, I think military covers it all. That's not so either. I've learned that the last 2 months too.
Don't call an Army guy Navy for sure.
No. Exactly. And the only reason I did correct you on that is because when you're a lieutenant, you basically, that has a bad connotation to it. So you're a butter bar is what they call you, and so you don't know shit as a lieutenant. So and if I was still a lieutenant at 28 years, there was something wrong. Other than that,
I love that you did correct me because I want it right.
Yeah, and I don't get caught up in the rank. I never have. But so that was just really only for clarification. That's it.
Mm-hmm. I think love it. And what's happening here is very similar to another reason why people, or veterans particularly, and me, because I'm sarcastic, love Angels 14, the banter. Just the back and forth, banter and giving each other crap back and forth, but all with love.
I don't think I've met a veteran yet that can't dish it. Like, I honestly have not met a veteran yet that is not like that. And it's fun. I love that because that's who I am. And that's probably why I'm attracted to the veterans and the first responders, because this is how you guys are. And I think some of that is like the fun loving, carefree, because you guys went through hell. Now you're on the other side. You've seen different things that other people have never seen and probably never want to see. And here you are on the other side. And sometimes having that is a form of, making sure that you get through something, right? Because I use humor and sarcasm sometimes to get through a situation. That's just me, though. I could be wrong, but
you could not be more right in this, because that we use in the veteran community, the first responder, I think people in general, when we can find humor in any situation, it continues to bond us. So a lot of times we'll say, hey, this sucks. We got to embrace the suck. Right. Yeah. And so in order to do that, we've got to crack jokes. We got to give each other crap in order just to get through it. But a part of that embracing the suck is that when you do that, you bond. So after it's over with and you make it through whatever that crucible that is, you're that much tighter as a team. And you have something that, hey, and that's where war stories come in. That's why we all love to tell war stories. And so, and some are different than others. Some don't talk about it unless they're in a veteran group. Yeah. And so, so you couldn't be more right, Dorothy.
Well, and I just got something like to my core when you said that. It was just like, there have been the things that I've seen and the things that I've been through in the last 45 years, has put me into a different position that I could definitely identify with some of what you like. You don't have to be a veteran to experience trauma and things like that. So being on that level playing field, I mean, no, I have not seen, and no, I've not killed anybody, or being programmed to train to kill. Although that would be freaking awesome to give me a gun some days, let me tell you. I just got it now. I think that's why I connect so deeply with you guys, because and I've been through different things and gone to the other side in that, and that's why I just love talking with you guys and your organizations and bringing light to them so that the world knows about you, so that we can help more. For sure. I just got it. It's just like, boom, there it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's that's something that we try to do. So we, on our show, and Vaughn can attest to this. I mean, we can be so serious, but in the very next breath, we can be cracking jokes and giving each other crap. And that's really what it is. I'm so glad that Vaughn brought it up, because the banter back and forth, it's something that we do. Vaughn was raised initially by crayon eaters. Those jarheads that love the taste of crayons, but we love them, and we're all one. It's all one team, one fight.
And I love that, which it brings us into this next segment of our show. And I'm going to bring on the lovely and amazing Kimberly and the handsome John.
Kimberly
John
and
Kellery.
John.
Welcome to
Thank
the
you.
show.
How we doing?
Great, thank
Good.
you.
So first of all, this is hilarious because inside of Unstoppable Overcomers, I'm on location. I am the roving reporter for Unstoppable Overcomers, and we've been on mission here in Florida for the last 10 weeks. And I'm getting to introduce the amazing John Kellery, who is a big part of that mission. And John and I have been laughing in the green room because we feel like we're looking at ourselves. So it is very much. I'm just waiting for Dave to just show up here.
Oh,
Show up the fundamentals.
So a little background as we're talking. He says he's in the waiting room now.
See,
Oh.
that? I knew it. I knew it was going to happen.
Oh,
Let him in. Let's
hold
have some
on.
fun.
But
Let's have some
Oh
fun.
yeah.
Why
we
can't
manifested
I
it.
can see him. I did manifest it, but how? Oh, there. Never mind. Huh.
there he is.
I
What
love
I tell
it.
you, what I say.
Let's go. Check it out. This song called Uber Needs to Be Love by Solomon Burke.
That's awesome.
Welcome, Dave DeQualjo.
Maybe just 5 more seconds.
Welcome to the show, Dave.
How you doing, everybody? What's up?
Hi.
Okay, so can I just mention? So, Dave, I was saying how you're going to be on soon because I've been texting him. It's just my 30 text years since I started texting him, and he said, "Do I need to be funny, smart, or cool, or what?" I said, "Funny but calm." How's he doing, you guys?
Oh,
He's walking the line. He's walking the line, and he's walking it well. He's walking it well. Dorothy, inside of Dave coming in inside the fundamentals, do you want me to run this, or do you want to take some time with Dave first?
Okay, well,
they go
let's
first.
give
I'm
Dave.
just going to be obnoxious.
let's
They
give-
go first. They go first.
Can we give Dave 15 seconds of his fame?
I think you're going to
And
have to
then-
be more than 15 seconds.
There you go. There you
I have
go.
a feeling.
I'm
I have a
good.
feeling.
I'll go into that. I'm
Just get comfortable, everyone. We'll be here for a while.
Yeah.
Yes, I got my big cup of coffee.
Yeah,
Ah,
Oh, my bubbly
happy,
hair.
I'm happy to take the side show on this one. But on the show, I'm the main deal. Just so you know, when you come on my show, I'm the main show. But for now, I'm happy to.
our show, Dave. Our show.
All right, that's right. Our show. Right.
All right, then I'm going to run the fun. Here's the fun of this. What I'm getting is there's going to be a repeat with Angels 14, where Dave will actually get an opportunity to have the full 45 minutes of the show. And now this is just a little sneak peek of what they're going to get from the
I
amazing.
like that. That's
Yeah.
right. You don't get the whole thing until you come to the show. That's right. Thank you very much.
They're
That's
going
like
to
my
get a little
moment.
taste
Check it out.
from Angels 14, and now they're going to get the full meal when Dave comes back for the second.
There you go. That's right. You just get 15 seconds right now. This is amazing.
Woo!
You're my new manager. This is amazing. Jeff,
All
right.
right.
Out. This is
All right.
it. Let's go.
So with that, we're going to let John Kellery share a little bit about himself. He came in tonight. He's been with us, through the whole show. And John is incredible. He is up to so many things, and he is incredibly selfless. So we're letting him share promote whatever he wants to in the next 3 minutes. And he's our sponsor tonight. So go for it, John.
Well, first off, hey, all my family, my vets, ex-Air Force, good to see you, my family. And for me, I own a tech lifestyle company. Got out of the military, went into the commercial industry of the airlines, working with them. Then I went overseas and I taught my career field in the military to the Saudi Royal Air Force. Then I met people like Greg Bicknell when I was doing a contract in Vegas. So it's been a cool journey. Vets have always been close to my heart. And then, so of course, working with Greg, we've jumped into building out something that is like a marketplace, right? For people to actually find different ways to help themselves for PTSD, suicide, traumas, things of that nature. So that's been a wonderful experience. It's truly energizing. For me, I try to add things with my own spin on it, like cigars. I love cigars. Like the first offering from my company is actually a cigar finder, and it finds cigars through flavor profile and things like that. Then GPSs you where to go get them, right? But I've taken and added cigars into the mix with the exchange, and now we're setting up things to do like cigar therapy. So the guys get together, the ladies get together, we all sit, we smoke, we have a great time, and you might come away with a couple of tools. So it's actually really a nice experience, and it's something that we'll be looking forward to. We'll be setting that up in Zoom here soon.
Fantastic.
Get some, John. Let's go. How about the
Thank
community? I love that. That's awesome, man. Good for you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Beautiful. All right. So with that, John, would you like to share your 3 fundamentals?
I'd say love, time, and connection.
Beautiful. Would you like to say a little bit more about that? Not a lot, since we have 4 of you tonight, but definitely a little bit more.
Well, for me, love is action. You have to show you love people, not just say it. Time is definitely a part of that. And even if you can spend 10 minutes with a friend, you drove across town, sat for 10 minutes just to say hi, give them a hug, that can change the person's whole day. And then connecting, we're so connected to our phones and disconnected from individuals, but it's so easy for you to shoot somebody a text, a funny meme or something like that to, again, affect the way their day is going. And it's one of those things for me that, I try to be inspiring. I try to be upbeat and happy. And I try to share that with as many as I can on a daily basis.
Get some, John.
That's awesome.
Love it.
I know he's pretty awesome, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Even though he's Air Force, but we'll forgive that.
Hey, we just dropped off places. It's okay.
The Air Force part was a problem, but
No. See, our stuff doesn't keep moving. We don't have to go find it in the ocean.
Hey. Let there be love and peace. This is not my show, so I'll just stand back on this one. When you come on my show, John, it's gonna be on. All right, let's go.
It's all good, baby. Oh man.
All right, Vaughn, it's your turn. What are you?
Okay. So I put down curiosity, creativity, and possibility. And that really is like, I did my TEDx talk around this idea of when you follow your curiosity, ask what if, and take small steps, you can create possibilities for yourself and for others. And that's, I came up with that for when I was thinking about the TEDx talk, but realizing that, curiosity is just how I've always lived my life because it's what I was shown growing up. My parents were refugees. They were immigrants. They didn't have anything. So if we needed something, we had to get curious about it. And they had to get creative about it. And we had to take small steps to get to it. And it always creates some sort of possibility. And that's sort of just naturally now how I live. And what I found is it's led me to some amazing things like Angels 14, right? Just this idea, like, this guy, Jeff, seems cool. I'm curious. Let's get on this call and see what it's all about.
That was your first mistake. Jeff is not cool, so error.
I knew that was coming in there.
I can't wait. Hey,
this is recorded, so this is on record.
Yeah,
and live. And live, by the way.
Yeah,
I'm really
live,
nervous, by the way, about this
Don't
show
go
being
live.
live. I'm terrified.
Yeah.
It's going well so far.
And just know, cool is relative.
Yes.
It is.
It's the number one rule.
Yeah.
It's the number one rule.
There is the number one rule is to look cool.
And I didn't even know it was the rule.
Yes.
I think the reason why this show is successful though is you're right. We set the boundaries. I'm on one end, and then Jeff's on the other end, and everyone can just fit right anywhere they want in the middle.
Right. That's right. You got and it's cool, and it's just cool, Dave. It's just
Yes.
cool all the way across the spectrum.
And then Vaughn is welcoming. Vaughn loves everyone, no matter what, even Jeff. So if she can love Jeff, then you can be loved on the show. And come on, that's the magic. We just solved and cracked the code on all what we do. There we go.
Crack the code. Well, that's we are fertile ground for y'all to crack the code. That's
yes. Thank you. Listen, thank you for having me. I tried not to be obnoxious. I try intentionally to be obnoxious, but I try not to be so obnoxious that people get by. I try to just get people's attention. You get it. So it's all.
No, we love it. We love it. Full self-expression. Keep it. Hey, this is the fundamentals part of the show. It's supposed to be fun.
Yes,
that's right. That's right. Hold on. For the Army guys, you can't spell fundamentals without fun. Check it out, Jeff.
That's right. That's right. You can't. And I
you got me there, Navy.
Okay, what happens next? When do we do
Jeff gets to go, and then you get to go. You get to go last. We're saving the best for last, Dave.
Right. Okay, fair. That's a good order.
Yeah, so he gets to end out the show. Yeah, and so I'm going to take very little time because I do want Dave to be able to come on here and share a little bit of a story and also what he does and all that. But hey, mine's based around camaraderie, community, and connection, which is what
copyright. Listen, copyright. You stole that from me, Jeff. All right, keep going.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Whatever, dude. Yeah. We stole it from ourselves, I guess. But if the idea behind that camaraderie is if we have a friend, we have somebody that we're able to just hang out with and do that, then it starts spreading and building that community, and then we all become connected. And connection, we crave as human beings. Amen. And so if we're concentrating on those things, then we're all going to be better. Dave, your turn.
I'm ready, dude. What's the question? I'm ready to go.
Here's 3 fundamentals.
3 fundamentals?
Yeah.
All right.
Fundamentals. The basics.
Does it have to be C words?
No.
All right.
And ultimately, it leads to fun. Like life is meant to be fun, right? And how do you get to the core of life being fun? How do you?
Can I say my bad joke first, and then can I do that part? All right.
You can do whatever you want with the next 3 minutes.
First of all, we got 3 minutes, Dave.
All right. Listen. I'll use my time as I want, Jeff Knight. Listen, I'd let you use your time. You didn't use it properly. It's my time. All right. Listen. First of all, the person that learns the most in every room is a teacher. I challenge you out there to learn when you're watching these things and write down the things you think are important. Write down. Oh, I have to go here shortly. Write down because I'm busy. No, I really actually have something to do. Check it out. Anyways, you should take notes at every session because you learn so much more. There's been studies proven that you learn more when you write stuff down. So I highly recommend, especially when I talk. But Jeff talks, you have to write stuff down. Vaughn sometimes has good stuff. Anyways, the first thing I was going to say, if we're looking for a C word, the first word is complicated. As in, don't make it complicated for the Army guys. And listen, all the ground guys out there and gals, I love you. I saved your life overseas, and when I came back, the ground guys and gals saved me because they know stuff. But for pilots, it's easy. Just like go around, everyone takes care of stuff for you. It's just like, hey, this is easy. I'm the man. Everyone loves me. But then when you're on the ground, you're doing like real people communication stuff. It's hard. You ask these ground guys and gals what's going on. So also, I say the first step, if you're going through trouble, is be curious, ask for help. I was so stubborn for so long. I was like, I felt pressure to not ask for help was the problem. Yeah. So I did. So I'd rather be cool. I'd rather look cool than look like I didn't know. And honestly, out there, this is all just a show. I love student. I love learning more than I love talking about. That's not true. I love talking way more than I love learning. But I do love learning. Listen, by the way, out there, all you kids out there making fun of you, respect your elders. Been through a lot of time. So before you judge me. Anyways, learn if you can manage to learn and teach everywhere you go. That's the magic. If you can remove your judgment and your ego and your lack of ability to deal with your emotions, like I have, and your lack of patience, you can find a way to learn and teach every engagement and leave people better off than when you found them, and that's the magic. And by the way, I love you, Vaughn. You're great. And Jeff, I love you too. And all you, I love you too. Even the Air Force guy, you're all right. Let's go. How's that?
Well, that is beautiful, Dave. Right. And yeah, Jeff, what would you like Dave to share? We'll grab a few extra minutes. We'll steal it and
real quick, Dave. Real quick.
Yes.
Your story. Your story. Navy fighter pilot. What happened, and then how you brought yourself out. Real quick.
And Dave, I'm gonna edit that to say just the bare minimum. It'll leave everybody wanting to come back for the next show.
Because I actually have 21 seconds, and I actually have to. No kidding, I really have to go.
Yeah.
I think I'm teaching class to Asia. That's how fancy I am. Respect your elders. That's how fancy I am. All right. So in 14 seconds, love life, love my mom. My mom's great advice. Oh, Jeff will tell you about my mom's advice. Then I was a pilot. Then I was homeless. Then I wrote a book, and then I have to go. I love you guys.
And that's Dave.
And
That's Dave.
And that was perfect because when we say when the new date's going to be when he's coming back, everybody's going to want to hear more. So that was awesome, Dorothy. Back to you. That was a fun fundamental.
That was great.
I'm kind of speechless, and that doesn't happen too much.
You were. Dorothy was like, I'm just gonna sit here and absorb.
I just
Like,
like,
thank God he came on my part of the show.
when yeah.
That's Dave.
That's it.
When
Dorothy, you could have gotten a whole hour of that.
Yep.
like the thing that comes to mind is when Jeffrey says that he was aborted out of the aircraft because he had to, and it's just like he just aborted us, like he just went and that's seriously, that's the words that I got stuck in my head that's not leaving me. It's just like abort the mission, abort the mission, abort the mission.
Yep. He flies fast.
That's awesome.
And I was trying, I don't know if it was my internet or if it was him, but I was like, I'm gonna have to go back.
this and so what you got from him is what you get from the show. This is the back and forth. This is everything. So it worked out perfectly.
Right.
As it should.
It always does. It always does.
Yeah. Jeff, I sent you a message on LinkedIn. Set me up for Friday. Send me the link for Friday.
I will.
Oh, great.
I'll send you the link, and
we'll make sure to get it out to all our communities as well.
That'd
fantastic.
be wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm, like I said, Greg showed up at the last second. Look at that.
Greg. Hello.
What a crew. Absolutely.
Yes. You just missed Dave on here.
It was you're gonna have to watch the replay, my friend Greg, to watch Dave and his 15 seconds of fame.
Zoom in and out, yes.
14. Oh, it just happened to be 14.
14 seconds. That's
14
right.
Woo! Look at that.
Yeah.
I think we did that on purpose. And why is that not leaving? Okay, there it is. Anyways, wow, this has been an incredible show. I just want to thank all of our viewers for showing up in the comments. Some new people. I'm not sure if you know Pastor here. I just want to put this up from Malaysia, Pastor Ruby Marion. I'm not sure if you guys know her.
Malaysia, wow.
But thanks for joining us tonight. And Greg he had to take his guy Steve to the airport. Well, gee, if we were still flying planes, we could have had him there in no time.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I'm still waiting for my veterans to help me get the heck out of Canada. Come and get me out of helicopter. I'm still waiting.
Well, that would be the ground and pound guys. Then we come pick you up.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Absolutely.
Perfect.
We're getting closer.
I'm all for it.
We're getting
Make
closer.
sure I have enough room for three. Anyways, thanks for
Plenty of room.
joining us in the comments, and thank you, Angels14 and John, for showing up tonight and just being amazing guests. Like I keep saying, each show is amazing, but each one beats the next one, and you guys were absolutely amazing. Like I'm kind of speechless. I really am.
Well, you made it very easy and comfortable. Thank you for inviting us.
No,
Yes, thank
much.
you so much, Dorothy.
No, thank you.
Thank you. And we're gonna have to do it again. And well, we might have to have like a veterans reunion. Oh my gosh, could you imagine Greg and Dave on the same show?
No,
Oh yeah.
Oh, we've
That'll be
seen
a 3-hour show.
Oh my
we've
gosh,
seen it.
that would Oh, that will be a pre-recorded one.
yes.
That might
Anyways,
require
thank you.
edits, yeah.
Yeah,
3 hours.
that might 3-hour tour. Yes, exactly. Well, thanks, thanks so much for tonight, guys. And don't forget, next week, continue your week to be unstoppable. This week sets you up for your week to be powerful. So be unstoppable in everything that you do, and stay tuned and come back next Monday at the same time, same channel. And bye for now.
Bye,
Always love and
everyone.
respect.
Have a great week. Bye.